What is going on YouTube? This is Acidurus. So I'm going to review what might be like the debut project and mixtape by YG Hootie. Basically, this project is called Fonk Love Flight to the Motherland, and it came out in the winter of 2011. So the thing about this particular project is YG Hootie was kind of an affiliate in the slime of Waka Flocka Flame back in like the early 2010s as far as those pitches kind of happened. Definitely had some highlighted stuff. He was on Flockaveli, the album from late 2010 a number of times. Definitely some good pitches there to kind of get some of that type of stuff. He dropped a series of mixtapes throughout 2011 at least. He might have actually had like a mixtape or two in 2010, but I'm not as full bound sure. A lot of Waka Flocka slime started to surface like between like the second half of 2009 to about early 2011 as far as those pitches going to happen to some of those folks like Slim Duncan, Frenchie, Woo the Kid, a bunch of those folks as far as that particular kind of goes. Kibo Gotti, some of these type of folks. But I look after it, YG Hootie was definitely one. This is a real blitzing mixtape here. I just would have to say it's an excellent type fare. I reviewed Red Zeppelin, like his summer 2011 mixtape back in the summer. That's really some blistering type fare. Has plenty of good heaters on there. I wanted to see some more about this folk as far as I particularly kind of wanted to see some other gems kind of get. And luckily, this with some excellent type of appeal. This is another mixtape classic. This is another highlight out of the early 2010s mixtape craze, like the classics that would just be belted out left and right. This has a little bit of drill in here, but not as much as like Waka Flocka and Slim Duncan. It's just kind of within the tone, but it is blistering hitter after hitter, I'd have to say. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that this mixtape is going to get a 10 out of 10. It's a pretty beefy mixtape here, just to be able to say that. There's 25 songs in this particular mixtape, and minus like the 3 intros and interludes and outros, as far as those pitches going to happen, narrows it down to 22. And out of those 22 songs, there's really only 2 songs I don't recommend. So that's a lot to talk about with like the standard description. We'd be here for quite some time. Me talking about every last one of these songs I recommend, just bar for bar, brick for brick. So I'm just going to go ahead and recommend some of the main staples and highlights to kind of get to some of the immediate type ones that you need to go for with a good degree of quickness just within the tone, especially considering the fact, I mean, YG Hootie, for the fare of what he is not like a full-blown kind of full front type artist and like the rap fold. I feel like for the most part, if you don't know Gucci Mane or Waka Flocka, you're probably not going to know YG Hootie and some of these type of folks that were kind of more low key, kind of mixtape only affiliates of Waka Flocka and Brick Squad Monopoly. It's just within the tone. He didn't really have any charting singles. He did at least drop a music video, I want to say, for Funk Love, some pitches like that. That's at least the buzz single off of here, but this might, like I was saying, this may have been his debut mixtape just within the tone. So just kind of within the aspect as far as saying that, you know, this is kind of on the initial, but he does have some good guests on here. I really appreciate the production fare on this particular product. Has Trapaholics on here. It's pretty good DJ as far as those pitches going to go. Standard kind of in-house Brick Squad type of affair as far as those pitches going to happen. Gucci Mane is on here a couple of times, so it's some good type of appeal. It's a good type of appeal to get some of this type fare with like Gucci Mane's early 2010s mixtape prime as far as those pitches kind of happen. So it's just excellent typeness. But yeah, so there's, like I was saying, there's plenty of these. I'm just going to go through the list of some of these, but I'll try to cover like a few extra ones within the tone just to describe some of those type of ones, but just understand that most of these songs on here have some pretty warranted type of appeal. They're a lot more low key, but there is some commercial bite about these just within the tone. I mean, I feel like this is at least vanilla street rap within that pitch. Just if you're looking for someone like Plies or Waka Flocka Flame on like a song like No Hands, some of that type of appeal. It's actually interesting that YG Hootie has a number of songs where it does try to have like some casual appeal. There's some songs on here like Presidential, Take a Flight, Fonk Love, some of these types of ones, and even Hood Star, I'd have to say, and possibly Master P, that just has some of that relative type of appeal, just getting towards some of those casual type aspects of just having like a lot of good, just like bite for something that could probably get some relative airplay and spins as far as this pitch can happen for like DJs, folks like that. Just would say venue kind of airplay. On top of that, Waka Flocka shows up on here a number of times, and he has like some scene stealing verses and product that he helps out with. So all the Waka Flocka songs, he shows up at least 3 times on here, plus a few extra other tidbits that kind of happen just in the here and there. And I had to say that it really bolsters the project. It's not like YG Hootie relies on Waka Flocka, but it is a good concept to kind of get some of these extra type of appeals. But just be able to say, so just understand, if you look hard enough, it's kind of similar to like Lil Durk and Roscoe Dash, some of those type folks. YG Hootie's pretty similar to that. He has like a song called Drop It Low off of his Red Zeppelin mixtape that has a lot of good casual appeal about it. There just are some gems on here. It's not like this is a mixtape that doesn't have good hooks on there and just overall appeals, as far as being able to say that it's not like something that this is not going to have any sort of airplay. It's just within the concept. It's just so beneath the ground and low key within the tone that it may just be within the tone that just probably goes over a lot of folks' heads heads as far as trying to get towards it, but it's definitely worth the investment, and I'll definitely point out some of the casual ones. But the lead single, Funk Love, is definitely one of those. It's like a get crunk kind of buzz single. I would feel like here, just some turn up. This is a get crunk kind of buzz single, turn up to kind of get within that tone, just a snappy kind of night commotion. I feel like about this one, just to get the backwoods lit, some of that type there, and just some good gab to kind of have on this song. This kind of feels like an in-between type song of like the song G-Check off of Waka Flocka's Flockaveli, and then like a song like Hard in the Paint, to some of those type of appeals. So it has relative kind of Lex Luger type appeal within that relative drill type sense, but also just like a street cut for like some just night venue type turn up of just having like a good ambience of just being out and about, and just that initial noise of just getting dap pitches like that, some of that type there as far as I would particularly going to go. Great kind of buzz single kind of get here. Just right off the bat, YG Hootie nails this appeal. One of the best songs on this particular mixtape is Party Party with Waka Flocka. Real excellent type one. Waka Flocka almost steals the show on this particular song, but it's like a hella slinky and catchy kind of nightclub heat to kind of get here. Vintage kind of, it's like a vintage kind of secret mixtape bop. I would definitely feel like this is a pretty casual type gem to kind of get here. This is probably one of the most immediate ones to go for right off the bat. Definitely for the most part, I would feel like most folks, if they're checking out YG Hootie, would probably realize that they would probably be a fan of Waka Flocka first as far as those pitches kind of happen. So it's definitely within the tone that this would be an immediate type one. Just easy, one of the best songs on the tape. Has a real slinky type beat on here, just real electro type one. In some senses, this actually has a little bit more casual energy than Funk Love, I'd have to say, but they're both a pretty good 1-2 punch, but these are just some blistering type ones. Another one like that would be We On. This is like a glissy and fast-paced kind of night living to kind of get here. Just a feeling nice kind of step out, just torch, just hell, some pitches like that. Just some good mixtape kind of Friday night type fare to kind of get within that tone. So it's just the concept. A lot of this just has like the step out, just being able to say, when I say mixtape Friday nights, just within the pitch of if you do have like a blue collar job, just standard fare, just having to report to work, and just kind of the concept of having some tasks, responsibilities to take care of, just within the concept of having those mixtape downloads, getting some of this mixtape heat, some of those type ones where you're deep in the trenches, not just listening to like David Guetta and DJ Khaled and like Rihanna and standard folks that are just on vanilla radio, some of that type of Adele and like, Bruno Mars, some of those type of folks, but actually getting way deep within the trenches where you're just not going to see many folks that have any sort of charting songs. This would be great for like some mixtape Friday night type fare. Just works. If you want to have a pretty just raw and overall blistering Friday night within a mixtape type fare, this would be a nice one for that. We On is just another good highlight. And a lot of these songs I pick for these casual songs on here are just pretty overall blitzing type night venue songs, just to be able to get just within the tone. I look after just being able to say these songs are low key within the sense, but they have enough casual appeal in this overall, the skittering type productions on here, and a lot of this is just night commerce, basically just like a more kind of street soldier version of what Waka Flocka does. I would say YG Hootie has about the same appeal as Waka Flocka, just maybe not as like as much full blown charismatic in terms of the tone. It's not to say he's not charismatic, it's within the pitch that Waka Flocka is just naturally intoxicating. It's just within the pitch, but he's definitely like a good affiliate of Waka Flocka, just being able to say it has like that same aspect of just getting some of that same. It's basically like one of the more signature cousins of that particular style, more so than Slim Duncan, which Slim Duncan was kind of fleshing out different styles. Slim Duncan had like his own form of trap and drill that was getting ready to pop off. I feel like YG Hootie is definitely like a very just almost identical cousin to like Waka Flocka on Flockaveli. It's just the same sort of concept. If you really love Flockaveli and Triple F Life, some of those projects, the Salute Me or Shoot Me series, this is like a good cousin to just that relative style that just has a lot of, just basically on the West Coast. I'd say he is from the West. It's just within that pitch, just has that tone. It's a nice one. But another one nice one like that is 143 area code within that pitch. This is like a skittering kind of night commerce kind of get here, just an easy venue kind of marinade, I'd have to say. Simple homies dap to kind of have, buy a drink, bask just within those tones as far as those pitches kind of happen. So 143 is just a nice one kind of get for like that basic kind of simple. 143 is just a simple kind of turn up just to kick back and enjoy the night as far as those pitches kind of happen. Goes great, not as frenetic as Funk Love and Party Party, but probably a good ambient type one to kind of get with We On, some of those type pitches. I would definitely say 100 Bottles is a nice one. This has Bricks. I want to say this has like Gucci Mane on the hook. I just listened to this song. I'm going to have to keep going back and forth with these. One of these has Gucci Mane on there. It might actually be Brick Squad Cartel, but I think it's 100 Bottles that has Gucci Mane just on the chorus, but it's just a good pitch. It's like a glared. 100 Bottles is a nice one. This has Gucci Mane on the hook, which is some pretty excellent type fare. It's like a glared and jacked up kind of step out, I would have to say here. Just a basic jive and smoke up. Just nice concept for that. Nice situate and enjoy the pace of the night as far as those pitches kind of happen. So this particular song just has a real flittery type feel. When I say jacked up, I mean wired as hell pitches like that. Just really torched, his eyes red. really torched ice, red pitches like that, just smoking some nice as far as that particular gun goes, getting some Tropicana weed, some pitches like that as far as that kind of goes with it. It's really enjoying the night. When they say 100 bottles, just within the pitch, being able to get towards that, just really having a great time. Just overall, real stunt flex type song, kind of have like some jazziness just within the tone. This is a definite feel good song. Presidential is a quality one on here. This is a more commercial type one, but I do like the pitch of YG Hootie doing songs like this. This is like a feeling good kind of summer balm to kind of get here. Just a midday kind of Bella's frolic. I would definitely feel like just a date afternoon and kind of a casual hit to kind of have just within the pitch. Just a different kind of taste of something within the aspect. Just more kind of standard shopping mall and strip mall type aspects as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. Just standard Tuesday afternoon, some of that type fare, just buying clothes, some of those type ness, getting like buying clothes, getting shoes, some of that type fare just within pitch behind it. Maybe smoke a couple just in the car, some of that type fare, just the aspects, good tone for that. Probably one of the more this is probably one of the most SFW songs on here. Now I realize within a pitch that YG Hootie is not as full blown SFW within the tone behind it, but this is at least one that has like some relative kind of for crowds that are not as much full bound into like mixtape kind of standard trap and drill. I'd say this is a good concept, at least something that comes up for air. But It's a Dream is a quality one as well as like a throwback kind of pasted mixtape Paranoia to kind of get here to some Night Travers with like usual day trap. This is some Night Travers with like a usual day kind of trap hit to kind of get within that tone. It's a pretty dim song kind of has. So it's just something that reminds me of something that Slim Duncan would kind of do. Waka Flocka just with like their more standard Paranoia, just kind of being like fuck the world and just kind of more in like an Aggie type mode just within the pitch behind it. Just some excellent type fare for that. It's standard kind of 3-6 Mafia type Travers. Some standard kind of 3-6 Mafia like Travers, just getting some snacks and goodies just within the after effects of the night fog as far as those pitch kind of having some good type tones for that. Master P is a quality one as well. It's like a wired up kind of mixtape heat, I would have to say, for a venue, definitely within that tone. Just a lively kind of get torched and decent kind of dance energy about this song, I would definitely say. It's a pretty good bop here. So I feel like Master P and 100 Bottles are two similar type ones that are great for being wired up and high as hell as far as those pitch kind of happen, just with enjoying the night, just within that ambience of just homies type music and like some social kind of step out. Just good ones to be torched just on the scene. Excellent type fare for that. And I'd have to say that Take a Flight is a quality one. This is like a typical kind of quality mixtape drill to kind of get in a more vanilla sense. I'd have to say about this one, just a street cut with some polish. I would definitely feel like about it here. So this is another nice one to kind of get within that tone. Like I was saying, this has some more commercial bite about it, at least something that was going to have relative crossover to meld like the particular popular style that was going on in like the early 2010s for those pitch kind of happens. So there's just some nice ones on here. Party Party, Funk Love, We On, Take a Flight, Master P, 143, some of these type ones, 100 bottles. Just a lot of these ones I listed with the descriptions have like this immediate factor, just being able to get towards some of these type moments that have the commercial aspects of being like, yeah, this is a mixtape, but probably just questioning how many people out of like 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 even would know about this particular product just within the tone. Now I realize that some of these songs do have their aspect of popularity on YouTube, but nowadays, now that these particular times are 14, 15 years ago, it's just kind of within the aspect, it just doesn't feel as full bound, but some good stuff. So there are some other ones on here. Like I feel like Phone Go Boom is another nice quality one that's pretty similar to like 100 Bottles and Master P. I'd say within that tone, this real nice snaking type one. It kind of has like a pretty electro kind of belly type beat on there as far as those pitches kind of happen. It's a good type one that has some commercial bite about it, but definite nice one. Get some smokage going. I feel like Rosary is a real brief type song, but this is another nice one just for some ambience and like a night venue. Just I want to say it doesn't even have a chorus on this particular song. Maybe it has like one hook on here just within the tone, but it's not very like on display as much. I'd have to say within the tone. It's just a real kind of just like lengthy song, or it's just really like a lengthy verse as far as those pitches can happen. But I just appreciate the production fare on that particular song and the overall night venue ambience. What's Happening is a nice one as well. It's kind of like another mixtape drill that's pretty similar to Take a Flight. I'd have to say just within the tone has some of that type fare. Just very similar to Waka Flocka on like some of his Go Hard. Very similar to Waka Flocka on some of his Go Hard in the Paint type vibes, and like Love the Gun sound, some of those type pitches just from the tone. Not as vicious as those particular songs, but definitely a good aspect to kind of get some mixtape drill from another folk that doesn't always super commonly do it. Just kind of more off to the wayside, just kind of cousin that particular style, just being a fan of Waka Flocka, some of that type fare. Haunted House is a pretty nice glimmering type one. Definitely the aspect that what you see is what you get with that particular song, just kind of commenting on like some relative kind of almost horrorcore, but just in a more mixtape type sense and trap type sense. That same sort of appeal. Gang Banging with Gucci Mane and Frenchie is one that reminds me of something Chief Keef would kind of do just within those aspects. It's a real haunting type one that just has some real glare and just overall hollowness about it that works pretty well. Hood Star is another one that has some relative polish. This is like a bass heavy type one. Really like the overall low key type minimalist type thump of this particular song. Pretty probably this is like a low key kind of roundabout victory about this particular song, but it works pretty well. Blowing Kush is a really differential kind of left field type smoking song, but this is definitely an excellent one to get torched to as far as those pitches can happen. I probably should have left a description on this particular song, but I didn't have. I just kind of felt. I mean, obviously this is an immediate highlight to go for. If you do smoke and you do heavily smoke, this is a nice one, easy enough to appreciate within that tone. Brick Squad Cartel is a nice one for that. Even though I don't recommend the song Brick Squad Cartel, it's kind of somewhat similar to that particular fashion. These are two good ones for like that soulful kind of mixtape, almost late 2000s, mid 2000s type era, just getting torch. But really, the sample or the overall soul in the song Blowing Kush is a real quality one. Now, I don't know if I talked about the two songs I don't recommend on here. Just to say that real quickly, the only two songs I don't recommend in any fashion would just be Brick Squad Cartel and Flight to the Motherland. So Brick Squad Cartel is just a smoking song that just didn't nail it nearly as well as some of these other ones on here. Just kind of within the pitch, just kind of felt not as composed properly. And then Flight to the Motherland, this song just took a while to start up within the pitch. It kind of felt like it was going to be like some mixtape drill. I liked Waka Flocka kind of being on like the background vocals and helping out with the song, but just the composition of that song was just a little bit messier and didn't really nail the vibe or the precision of it. I'd have to say it's just within the tone. I'm trying to think of some other songs. A song that I probably should have talked about with the description, but I didn't, just because the overall full-blown execution of the song was not as super strengthy as like the rest of the album or the mixtape. I'd have to say is Pole with Waka Flocka and Slim Dunkin. This has a pretty good jazzy type production on here. Relative good, almost like a meld of like dubstep and like relative kind of mixtape drill type sense within that tone. But I just feel like the execution is the way like the formation of the song kind of happened. The beat was just kind of more here and there within it. I mean, it's a nice one, but it's just kind of within the tone that just the delivery, how the song particularly layered itself together was not as heavily considering all the heavyweights on the song. Waka Flocka and Slim Dunkin's definitely a song that probably needed just a little bit better, just overall polish to that particular one. But it is a nice production on there. It's a simple, nice one, but it's not like the full blown. It's not immediate one of the best top 3, top 5 songs on this project, I'd have to say, but it is a nice one. Nice Slim Dunkin verse, nice Waka Flocka verse on there. So that's just within the tone behind it. So plenty of these hits on here just within the tone. Just overall highlight after highlight, I have to say. So this mixtape gets a 10 out of 10, I would have to say. The Soja score is going to get a 10 out of 10 or at least a 9.75. I'm going to go ahead and give the Soja score of this mixtape like a 10 out of 10 just within the tone. I mean, I realize that YG Hootie's pretty down low as far as those pitches going to happen just within the tone. I realize that YG Hootie is pretty down low within the tone as far as those pitches going to happen, but just the aspect of once you find this cat and once you know more about Waka Flocka and some of the folks that he fucked with and have a more thorough appreciation for mixtape type fare, especially out of the classic run between like the late 2000s to early 2010s, I definitely feel like this is an easy enough highlight. It just has plenty of immediate ones on here. There are some casual type fares. This is relatively vanilla in terms of like mixtape drill. This has the aspect that despite the fact that this is kind of like low key, where this probably didn't have like even 50,000 or 30,000 downloads on DatPiff, something like that, I still would have to say within the tone. I just look after just being able to say, that it has the attempts at commercial grabs and it actually nails these moments better off than just the concept of what the chart appeal said about it. It's just within the tone. It's just kind of a more I feel like it would be hardcore, but it's just more in the sense of just because it just is not as many folks that would be checking for it more so than the actual quality of it. So it's just within the pitch that this is low key type stuff that has like the grabs of just getting to like commercialness. It's just the fact that it just was not really given the chance with it. It's just a little bit more lower on the totem pole, but it is excellent type vanilla rap within the concept of commercial. So that's just the tone. So in terms of the future, like YG Hootie is not really as full bound been around since like the early 2010s, since Waka Flocka and since Slim Dunkin's death and Waka Flocka kind of dissipated in the early 2010s. But some excellent type fare. Just be able to get this easy kind of classic once again. Another superb kind of simple enough highlight to get out of the 2010s decade. Seminal type mixtape definitely get here. Excellent type fare. Another highlight for Gucci Mane and his catalog and his camps as far as that particular one goes. Highly recommend it.